All right, let's start by declaring a constant called numbers. And we set this to an array with two elements, 3 and 4. Now, note that here I've declared numbers as a constant. That means we cannot reassign numbers to something else. If we do this, we get this error, assignment to constant variable. However, it's perfectly fine to modify the content of this array. We can add new elements or remove existing elements. So constant does not stop us from modifying the content of an array, okay? So earlier you have learned that arrays are objects. So using the dot notation, we can look at all the properties and methods defined in arrays. In this lecture, we're going to look at 3 of these methods to add new elements to the end, beginning, or middle of an array. The first method we're going to use is the push method. So numbers dot push. We can pass one or more arguments, and these arguments will be placed at the end of this array. So I'm going to pass 5 and 6. Now let's do a console.log of numbers. Save the changes. So we had 3 and 4. Now we have 5 and 6 at the end. If you want to add elements to the beginning of an array, you use the unshift method. Let me show you. So numbers dot unshift. This basically pushes the elements in this array to the right and adds new elements at the beginning. So again, here we can pass one or more arguments. I'm going to pass 1 and 2. Now let's bring this console.log down. And by the way, to do this, you can hold down the Alt key and press the up or down arrow. That's a good tip to know, okay? So save the changes. Now we have 1 and 2 at the beginning of this array. And finally, if you want to add elements to the end of an array, you use the splice method. So let's bring this down. Numbers.splice. With this method, we can go to a given position and add new elements or remove existing elements. Later in this section, we're going to look at removing elements. So for now, don't worry about that. Now look at the parameters of this method. The first parameter is start, which is a number. So that's our starting position. So let's say in this array, after 1 and 2 here, between 2 and 3, we want to add a new element. So our starting position is here. What is the index of this element? Well, you know that arrays are 0 indexed. So the index of the first element is 0, then 1, and here's 2. So our starting position or starting index is 2. Now look at the second parameter here. That's delete count, which is a number. How many elements do we want to delete? In this lecture, none. So I'm going to pass 0. And then look at the third parameter. That's the items we want to add. So to make this stand out, I'm going to add 2 characters here, A and B. Save the changes. So note that A and B are placed after 1 and 2.